So did Norma Jean fill you in?
A little bit, yeah. I think that was partly what they called that meeting for, you know, Mike, the publisher, and her, and we were just talking a little bit about that, and just about it in general. And one thing she forgot to mention to you too. Hey, there she is.
How are you doing?
All right.
She's upset.
Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you. She forgot to mention that one of the ways we initially became suspicious that maybe Tran was involved with the police academy was he used to have a website that's down now after he bought the property off Happy Creek where the cattle farm is and stuff. And it said that he was going to be involved in, or whatever the company was called, Front Royal-Warren or something like that. There was a website. It said they would be doing cattle ranching, barista training, police training. That was one of the things listed. We go, police training? Police academy they're talking about? That's where we first started to put two and two together on that.
Okay.
And then of course I know she got the information through somebody from, I think she talked to you about all that.
Yeah.
The other day.
She said she, has done her research. She's gone to different places.
Right.
The reason that we're here, and we're speaking with everyone that we can, is we're working a criminal investigation.
Yeah. I couldn't believe when Jennifer told me the shit that was going on.
Yeah.
You know, the stuff at the office at the EDA. I said, how the fuck did you get at the EDA?
Right.
A knife in the thing and install the stuff at her house.
Right.
I was going.
But that's kind of why we're here. We need to know what exactly you were told and who you were told by. Right. Not what other people, like how you originally found out. Was it by Norma Jean, and then you had a meeting with her, and then she divulged, and how
Norma Jean
unravel.
Norma Jean, I think, had a meeting about whatever story she's working on about finances and stuff with Jennifer, and at the end they started talking about something. And I had an incident with Jennifer's husband like the week before.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And I think he'd been drinking and playing golf, and see, I didn't know anything about these incidents, and when I told Jennifer that it had happened, I guess that was when she called me, and after she talked to Norma Jean and mentioned to Norma Jean what was going on, she said, well, do you think I should tell Roger? She goes, yeah, because he had this incident with Sammy. And I've known Sammy and Jennifer back since the early 90s.
Right.
I knew them independent of each other, and that's what so upset me about Sammy being mad at me, is I've always liked Sammy, and I covered him in the men's softball league.
Right.
When I was a sports writer and sports editor.
Mm-hmm.
And so for him to be upset at me, but then when she called me and she was saying, well, when did that happen? And she said that was in close proximity to one of those incidents at her house, and then she explained to me what had been going on, and that would make sense why Sammy, because they were putting it together with that story would come out, one of these incidents would happen.
Right.
You know?
When did you find out, though, about the stuff that happened at the EDA that you were just explaining to me about the pictures?
It was at that meeting with Jennifer. It would have been, let's see, the thing with Sammy, I think, happened on May 22nd, so it would have been the week after that, whatever day Norma Jean talked to her and then said, yeah, you should tell Roger too, because he had the incident with Sammy. Then I went over to Jennifer's office at the EDA, and she showed me some shots off her phone, and she showed me the thing with her picture with the weird hair or something, the knife in it in her chair that she sits in.
Okay.
And some other stuff. So, like, I don't know if it was an online thing with a racial slur, like her nephew or something, or niece.
Right.
And then, I think she maybe mentioned one other thing that had happened. Something at her house about somebody spraying it on her window. Rape isn't for the faint of heart. And I'm just going, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's very personal. Like, that's pretty tough.
And when we were talking then about that, and we talked about Sammy and what happened, and that was the first time I said, oh, maybe these things are together, that something like that happened, and he's blaming the stories for it happening.
Right.
Misplaced, but.
Right.
Right. But she was saying that, and I still think this, even after our conversation yesterday, where she said they found a piece of paper with phone numbers on it.
Who said that?
Jennifer. And that's confidential. I wasn't supposed to tell anybody. No. You guys don't count for that.
Right, no.
No.
And we're investigating.
Because I would imagine she's hopefully telling
Right.
you all this stuff too. But she had initially told me at that first meeting, the previous week I guess it was, that she thought it had to be something personal that went into her background. Because it doesn't even make sense to me that somebody that would have a grudge against her personally for the EDA stuff, which it seems to be tied to these stories we're doing about the workforce housing.
But people are crazy.
That's true.
So.
But, even the person she said whose office number was on that piece of paper, who she knows I don't like, because I have history with.
And who's that?
Tom Sayer. Because I know he was the one that was ID'd stalking me back when they were trying to get me arrested for a DUI.
Right.
And I got the dip. He was ID'd following me and Shay after meetings to the Melting Pot. His license number.
I remember when all that stuff was
So
going on.
she knows I don't like him.
So what all?
But it just doesn't make any sense. Is he even that crazy?
Anybody, nothing surprises me anymore. I mean, until we get to the bottom of it,
I've
we
always
have
said
to
you
put
can't
everybody
make
in
this
the
shit
pool of
No,
suspect.
can't make it up.
No,
You know?
absolutely not.
Everybody's going to be in the pool of suspect until we can kind of sort this stuff out.
Yeah.
But when talking to Jennifer, how many incidents has she? I mean, what has she relayed to you personally?
Okay, well, we talked yesterday.
What time did you talk yesterday?
It was mid-afternoon, probably. I had some things to do, and she'd had some meetings.
Like
And
maybe
she sort of
4 o'clock?
she'll text me and say, new stuff. Let's talk. I don't want to communicate by the text or whatever. Come in and I'll tell you what's going on. And it was just sort of an update, and it was about this last incident where somebody threw a rock through the glass in her front door. And like the next day, I guess the investigator found this piece of paper with these phone numbers on it. That Sayer is what she told me, had a 202 number, which is all she could remember of the.
Right. And she just told you that yesterday afternoon?
What, she said she found a
No,
piece
I don't know if she found it, or investigators found it, or PI found it. She said she has a PI working on it. That there was a piece of paper, and I'm guessing it was where they think he had parked the car, and it had instructions about how to terrorize her, and we don't want to hurt her, but we want to terrorize her, and stuff about her husband drinking too much. It wouldn't be much of a problem, and the dog barks a lot, so don't park near the house. The dog will bark. And then
she told you all this?
She told me all this.
This was stuff
verbally,
that was yesterday.
not text message?
Yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, this was in her office.
Probably around 3 or 4 or something like
Yeah,
that.
saying between 2:30 and 3:30 maybe.
Something like that.
Something
Okay.
like that. And I can't remember. My train of thought derails frequently.
Yeah, well,
My
happens.
declining years.
It happens.
it does.
I don't know where I was going. Oh, the next day they had found this piece of paper with these instructions on it and these phone numbers, Sayer, a 202 number, Sayer's office number, I think, which is 7s across the board. And that there was something on it about, don't carry this with you. And the person was so stupid they carried it with them and dropped it.
Why is Jennifer telling you all this?
I don't know.
That's what I
One
don't
thing
quite
I
understand.
think is that in my job, people I like or don't like, I always know that they're playing me. A better angle on a story you're working on, or
There's a
whatever. Yeah. And so my radar's always up for that. And from the start, when she said she thought Sayer might be involved, which I think she mentioned before, the phone number thing, that, she knows I don't like him. This will make me more sympathetic to her.
Right.
So.
Do you trust the veracity of Jennifer McDonald? I mean, you've known her for a long time.
Right. Well, the whole thing with this workforce housing has raised veracity issues with the whole EDA.
Right.
And the last informational thing they handed out, all those 380 pages or whatever it was, but it had an 8-page cover letter, and Patty, who's the chairwoman of the board, said it's mistakenly on her that she's being criticized. We make all the decisions. So I think nothing they've said makes any sense. It's been like either one, whatever you want to call it, lie or misspeak after another, which ends up not being true.
It
So
seems
I
like
have veracity.
sometimes people forget what they've told one person, and it just seems like there's so many stories floating out there. It's hard to pinpoint what the actual, which way to
So
sway.
I have veracity issues with everybody at the EDA right now, including Jennifer, I guess. But I still like Jennifer.
But does
But
someone?
do I trust her?
do you know anybody that would go this far as to
Do
personally
stuff like
attack
that.
her?
Well, that's, you know, like she told me the first time, she thought it had to go back personal somewhere in her past. And for something like this to be happening, I don't think somebody who disagrees with what the EDA is doing about workforce housing or Avtex
Who's gonna stab her
redevelopment
picture through the
would do,
forehead.
do shit like that. That's just crazy.
Mhm.
Nope. This is off the record.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Tom-
this is
I don't
investigation.
think
We don't.
even Tom Sayer's not that crazy. I don't think. I could be wrong about that.
Right. But, you know, I mean, you go through the list, I mean, you know, and she has a list of people that are very upset with her, and, you know, and if I was a normal person, would say, you know, God, that just doesn't fit their MO, or like, are they capable of doing that? But, you know, I'm not surprised anymore by people's actions.
Yeah, it's a
When-
crazier world every year, isn't it?
It is.
All the social norms are.
Yeah, and you've been reporting for quite some time, and I'm sure
Well, that's one
sometimes
thing I've always told people is reporting here. I got sort of into journalism later in life. It was sort of, I would submit stuff when I was in Richmond and sometimes get it published here and there, but it was always a hobby. I sort of got into it by accident, starting with sports, and maybe I should have gotten into it earlier, but I've always said, well, why don't you try to get a job at the Post or somewhere? You could do it, you're pretty good. I said, well, you know, I'm a little older. I'm familiar, I live in this community, your local government has the most direct impact on every day, and everything that goes on here is like a microcosm of the world at large, or the nation.
Right.
I mean, and this is a perfect example, excuse my French.
No, you're
Yeah.
good. You're
Oh, I
good.
agree.
I'm not
You
opposed
know,
here.
and you know, it's just so interesting, and like, I was laughing with Jennifer about it, I said, you can't make this shit up, but maybe somebody can, who knows? You know, I don't know. I really don't know what to think.
I mean, you kind of know.
I don't want to think that she's making it up.
Has that thought crossed your mind?
It crossed my mind when she told me that somebody broke into the EDA offices and put a knife in a chair. I just, how easy, what kind of security they have in that building, something like that could happen. I just was going, how'd they get in? She said something about they came into the basement. Damn, they'd set some alarms off or something.
No.
That's what we're trying to figure out,
Yeah.
is exactly what happened.
Myself.
That's why you guys are making the big bucks, right?
We
Trying to figure
responded.
this out.
I think you know what the town's budget is. There's no big bucks to be had in this town.
Detective King and I, we went out to the scene, so we processed the scene. You know, we looked at everything, and you know, just from looking at it, I mean, everything that that she showed you, you know, it's definitely things that were there.
Right, right.
So.
I mean, if that really did happen, I'd have a bodyguard.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd
it's
have one of
scary.
you guys follow me around all the time. Especially with the rape thing on her
Right.
window.
Then, so she called you in yesterday just to tell you about the newest
About the
update,
note, yeah, the piece
and that
of
was
paper.
through her front door.
Well, she said that, I guess like the rock she'll put around a garden, that somebody had picked one of them up and thrown it to her front door, and I said, your front door is glass. She said, well, there's glass part of it or something. I threw the glass part, and I think she was asleep, and maybe Sammy was asleep in the living room. I said,
It didn't necessarily happen yesterday, but
yeah,
yesterday.
I don't know when it happened exactly, but it was the most recent thing. And I think it happened within the last week. And she was updating me on that I guess what she really wanted to tell me was that they found this piece of paper with Sayer's phone
But
number on it.
you're a reporter.
And it was off
I
the
don't know,
record. It was off the record. I don't think she expected me to go out and write a story Sayer
I
implicated
know, it's
in
just
the terrorism of
interesting that
EDA
she
director.
would tell that, because usually, and we try to keep it on the down low that we're investigating and interviewing people and stuff like that, and it's usually somehow, you know, word will get out and, you know, not
My
necessarily-
impression is she's sort of trying to curry favor with maybe me and Norma Jean both, so that we'll ease up on. Now Norma Jean's working on this financial story,
right,
sort of independent of me, but she tells me a little bit about
right.
it. And it sort of is a big, you know, they always say follow the money, right? And it's true,
No, I agree.
100%.
but that sort of ties the train guy in and the police academy and what that site he used to have when he bought all the property, not the Avtex property, but the other property. And, you know, it's sort of, and then Jennifer's real estate business, and it's just a big thing, and I think Norma G's trying to tie all the dots together. And I've been the one on the point on the workforce housing story, which doesn't make any sense logically from whoever's making the decisions, Jennifer or the EDA board, and the EDA board does vote on everything. And I think maybe telling both of us however much she told Norma Jean, I think she tells me more, because I've known her longer. But I think she's trying to curry favor with us, you know,
Right.
make herself more sympathetic,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Now,
So who would be
that doesn't really speak to did it really happen or not, or whatever. But
So with all of the comments and all the stories swirling like that, who has the biggest grudge and hate towards Jennifer McDonald to attack her personally and to?
well, obviously the people that have questioned her that I cover in the public realm, you know, has been Bevan Egger. I can't imagine. And then Sayer and Archie Fox on the county side. And like I say, I've got my issues with Sayer from way back, but I don't know that he's that crazy.
Right. What about the developer? You know, more like Donnie Poe or John Costello or
Well, John sent us a big financial analysis that we posted.
right, the letter to the editor.
Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah, I
I think
saw
we
that.
tried to put it on as a commentary, but couldn't figure out how to do it logistically wise, so they did it as a letter to the editor, at least initially. And it was like a financial breakdown that, you know, I'm not capable of, or probably even Norma Jean, which really,
And it seemed
Says
like
the
most
numbers-
of the stuff that he
the
had in there
numbers.
was public knowledge
yeah.
type of
yeah,
stuff, not really.
That's my impression, that these are the costs they've said,
Right.
and this is how that interprets as to how much they're paying and how much they'll have to charge to break even, and it was all stuff like that. And he's in the business, so.
Right.
But,
I mean, John Costello's
I mean-
been around this town for a long time.
oh yeah, when I first came here in 1986, the first place I stayed for like a week or two, when I was working on the restaurant to open it up, was a girl that lived on a little ranch house on his property up there. So I've known him almost since I first came here. Not well, but
Right.
enough to always talk and say hello
Yeah,
and stuff.
I talked to him too.
And I know a lot of people don't like him. I've never rented from him.
Yeah, I think he's
Nobody who rents
eccentric.
from him, I think, likes him because I hear he's a harsh landlord. But
Right.
but I've never rented from him, so I don't
Yeah,
have those
me neither.
problems. But I don't get the impression that he's that crazy. But I don't know him that well, and I don't know what Donnie Poe, what relationship he might even have with Jennifer business-wise or anything. So I have no idea.
So the only people you can think off the top of your head are the people who obviously publicly have
Yeah,
said things
Yeah.
against Jennifer
yeah.
and the E EDA.
And for these type of incidents that she's described to me, and like I said, she even said to me when we first started talking, there had to be some sort of personal motivation
Well,
beyond I
Money is
disagree with.
personal, and when you're doing
Well, that's true.
deals
You're,
and
you're
stuff like
exactly
that,
right.
that is
Now, if
personal.
they think that what the EDA is doing is competing with their business, then that can throw that into it.
and that
Yeah.
it's shady, and that the people's money's going to
Right.
waste, and that
Right.
you
Oh,
know,
there's someone's
dirty politics. I
Right,
mean,
someone's
that is
profit.
personal to
Yeah,
people.
yeah, well, we saw that in Alexandria the other day, didn't we?
Yes, we did. You're right.
someone's
I'm sure I've played on that ball field or right around that park area before. From where they described where it was. I mean, that's where I grew up. So,
Yeah, that's too bad.
yeah, it's crazy. But I don't know if I'm being much help to you. As I'm as confused
But,
as
you
you
know,
are.
we're just
Or
trying to
hopefully you're not
unravel
as
it.
confused as I am.
Roger, where do you live in? Is it apartment?
No, it's a 2-story with a basement. Oh, one thing Norma Jean said to me, I guess she got paranoid after getting called in about all this. And I've thought about this through different things when I've been involved with people who've been unhappy with what I'm reporting about, whatever. It's like when the weather's like this. I leave all my windows cracked.
Mm-hmm.
She said, you better start putting your windows up because somebody's going to try to slip something into your car to say, you know, this was stuff that was stolen from somewhere or from her house, and they're gonna slip it in your car and try to set you up. I mean, and I'm a natural paranoid person anyway, but
Right.
now, am I gonna have to leave my windows up in the heat when it's,
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't put anything past anybody.
I know.
I don't. So,
Just
Oh,
that-
I know one other thing she told me yesterday was, in addition to the piece of paper they found like a driving glove or something that they thought you could get DNA off of or something possible.
a driving glove?
Something like that, some kind of glove.
Like an O.J. Simpson glove?
Huh?
O.J. Simpson glove?
Maybe.
See if it fits?
Maybe. Maybe. If the glove don't fit, you must have quit.
Yeah. So Jennifer's the one where you're getting all your information from
About this
directly
stuff.
about the stuff that took place at
Yeah.
the EDA.
Yeah.
You were privy to it a couple days after Norma Jean talked to her.
I've actually almost immediately after, same day.
Oh, so
Because that was the week after the 22nd, I think. 22nd was a Monday, and that's when Sammy said, you know, you're lucky I don't punch you in the face.
The
You don't-
22nd, and then the next Monday was like Memorial Day.
Yeah, so it would have been like maybe the Tuesday,
June
Wednesday,
5th.
Thursday that day.
Okay.
I'm thinking middle of the week.
Okay, because
And that's when she first told me and showed me the knife picture. And then yesterday,
Did she tell you anything was missing?
huh?
Did she tell you that if anything was missing
Out of her
from her
house?
office or her house or, wherever, car, whatever?
No. In fact, I might have some of the texts she sent me about this on my phone, because I'm bad about deleting stuff. Maybe I can get a date off of it when it starts.
yeah, just for whatever reason, I believe that the 5th of June was
I have a text from her on the June 5th that says, can you meet me later? Yeah, a series from June
right.
5th. This is all off the record. Thanks for meeting me today. So we can catch these people. Keep it quiet so we can catch these people. Yeah, she mentioned it to Norma Jean, so thanks both of us for keeping it quiet.
So it's June 5th was
Yeah.
the day you met with her.
Oh, and then I have one on June 6th from her that says, we had activity, exclamation points. And June 11th, may have a tip that an elected official is in cahoots with what is happening to me. That must be about the piece of paper with the phone
Right.
numbers on it.
June 11th was Sunday.
No one else knows what is happening. This is from my PI. So I guess the PI may be the one that found the thing or the stuff. And it would give me no greater pleasure than to nail this person. That's June 11th. June 11th, same thing. June 11th. Yeah, that's about it. Should I save those? Keep those on my inbox?
I would. I'd like to have them.
I mean, if you guys need to copy them, or I don't know how to do that stuff. if you
Yeah,
can
that,
do
with
it, but
that type of a phone, it's gonna be.
Well, we're getting,
I'm being drugged slowly into the 21st century.
Yeah. After July 1st, we'll have where we can actually take a picture of, screenshot of each,
Even a tiny little
Text
screen
message,
like
yeah.
that.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if I've been much help to you.
No,
No, I appreciate you coming down.
yeah, I mean,
I
Well,
do.
yeah, I mean,
You never know what little part
I
can
hope to God
help us.
you can get to the bottom of whatever the hell's happening.
we do, we do too, we wanna, that's why we're
I mean,
talking.
because if it's real, I mean, that she's being menaced. I mean, that's scary.
Yeah, I think it's pretty scary.
And
Do you have any theories about what is going on?
Well, like I said, if it's really happening, if it's not something she's created to garner sympathy.
Right.
Is that
Take the heat off.
is that your first?
Like I said, I'm always suspicious I'm being played.
Sure.
So that possibility is something that will occur to me.
I mean, we always look
You
at
know,
that too.
we
so.
do
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I mean, I don't want that to be true.
But
But I don't want her to be terrorized either, so I don't know what I want.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. But if that were the case, I mean, if she was, creating this, what do you see? What would be the motive you think behind this for her for creating this?
To distract from whatever's been going on
Right.
with the workforce housing and the other financial stuff, and to maybe discredit or remove people who were involved looking into it. You
Okay.
know, whether it be public officials or the media or whoever. You know,
Right.
I don't think she would be targeting me and Norma Jean as suspects, because her telling us all this would defeat that purpose, I would think.
Right.
You know, oh, well, you told me all this shit. You know, I think if she was trying to focus on us, she wouldn't have been telling us all this. I don't know. I don't know how people think. They get all convoluted. But.
So, what if she denies telling you and Norma Jean?
Well, I got these texts. You know, activity, can you meet with me?
It could be activity about the workforce or IT.
That would be troubling. Then she is targeting us.
So without a doubt, you absolutely heard everything that's going on with the EDA, criminal activity-wise, came from Jennifer McDonald.
She showed you the pictures on her phone.
Yeah,
of-
yeah. The
of
one, another one that was disturbing. She didn't show me the one of the thing about rape on her window. She told me that, but she showed me the one of the knife in the chair
Uh-huh.
with the picture. And then there was one, and I don't know if it was like an online thing or it was a hard copy picture. It wasn't clear to me what it was, but it was a picture of, I think, like a nephew or niece with a racial slur
Mhm.
written across it.
Was there anybody there when she was telling you this?
The first time, I think Missy was probably there, the secretary. Yes, yesterday Missy wasn't there when I was there, but Marla, her assistant, walked out and said something to her that somebody called.
Okay.
You know, somebody called about buying property, and she goes, "Oh, that's good."
So were you guys in her office?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, both times.
Open door, closed door.
Closed.
Okay.
When I go to talk to her about anything, she usually closes the door.
Right. No, I think you've been pretty helpful.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming down here.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, no.
Very helpful. Do you have
No.
any, I don't have anything further for him.
No?
I can't think of anything, but I've got your phone number, so if I need to call you,
You know
I'm
where I
gonna ask
live.
you some questions. We know where
Yeah.
you live. We come talk to you.
Can I keep my windows cracked in the heat?
Yeah, but I would say, but you need to trust
If-
your intuition too, because you and Norma Jean are writing these
Well-
stories that are pissing a lot of people off,
Right.
and all that. You have both sides. People are very happy you're doing it, and then people that are pissed off too. You gotta trust your intuition just as
The
much
people who are
as
pissed
Jennifer
off,
McDonald.
you know, people are pissed off.
You have
They're-
some big money in this town that wants to see
Right.
certain things happen, and
They don't want anything to get in the way of that.
you need to trust your
Well,
intuition.
I'm
that
on
doesn't work.
That's
my,
not
not
right.
okay, good. What time is it?
It's 11:20.
Okay, I've gotta go to the Front Row Rotary to take pictures of some award stuff.
Okay.
I think Malcolm's gonna write the story, cause he's a member, he'd be there anyway, Eaton, but it's funny talking about the financial aspects of the community. Jokingly, for a long time I've called the Front Row Rotary like the Warren County Mafia.
It is.
You know, it's like a big club of the
Who's
players,
who,
of the
yeah.
players and the insider
Right.
trading.
And you have the old players and you have the new players
Yeah.
mingled in,
Yeah,
and I think I think the roots are deep.
I know,
And
so
you
I
have
was,
people
I always
that are
get
on the
uncomfortable
board.
when I have to go there and cover something, because I know they'll hate me.
No, but you just look at who's on these boards, who's on the EDA board, who's on,
Well, and between being the old players, some of them aren't very healthy. I mean, poor Jim Easton, he's dying
Oh, I
of
know.
cancer.
Yeah.
And Patty's doesn't look well to me. I've known her for a long time. She doesn't look well. And Billy's had his stroke he's dealing with. I mean, it's like, I've thought, well, these are old players, but also, are they older and feeble enough to be manipulated now? Like their
Yeah.
executive could like take them and lead them like that with whoever else.
Because you know there's plenty of dirt against those people, and they can't be played and extorted.
Right. And this doesn't, I believe, have anything directly to do with what we're talking about, but another EDA board member, Ron Llewellyn. And I liked Ron when he was on the supervisor. I always got along with him. But when I was looking into the delinquent real estate tax story a few years ago, which I think may have had
He is a businessman.
may have had something to do with my getting ousted from my own paper, which I just filed a $300,000 lawsuit about. Who should I check with at the sheriff's office to find out if it got served okay?
That'd be civil, so that'd be Judy Ruby. I think she's a sergeant of civil.
Who is it?
Judy Ruby.
Judy Ruby.
I think she's a sergeant of civil process now. And then of course, Cindy Burke, she serves those papers as well, but yeah, I think it's Judy Ruby.
Spell the last name.
R-U-B-Y. Yep. But whenever you're talking about big businessmen, lots of money, and politicians.
What I was saying was that when I was looking into that, among the people on the top of the list, talk about the Front Row Rotary, Llewellyn, Chris Ramsey, some of the builders, but the county had been allowing them
What's his
to
name?
run these delinquent.
No, the board of supervisors, the county administrator,
Doug Stanley.
Doug Stanley.
Was he on the list? I didn't even see him. He might have.
No, he's not on this. He's on Rotary.
Oh yeah.
He
Well,
has a lot of connections.
Jennifer's president of Rotary now. I think Doug's been, but Ron owed $50,000 on Rose Hill. I don't think he was getting ready to develop that, because the story Doug gave me back then was that, well, the board of supervisors made a decision back in like 2004 or 5 that they weren't collecting enough when they sold the property, when they seized it, so they would just let them not pay their taxes until they told them to turn a profit and then pay off. Which they never had a public vote on. It seemed to me that it was illegal what they were doing. And you notice how they've done a complete 360 or 180 on that now. They're publishing a top 10 list of delinquent. They're making a big show of the sales.
Ron Llewellyn also had that property right by the bridges where they had that trucking place.
Yeah.
And he was delinquent on those, and then I don't know what happened.
His Swan Farms and all his heptat, they all owed like about $50,000.
Yeah.
But some of it was personal. They were letting them slide. Now Doug has said, well, I don't know where you got this idea, but we let it slide. You made that up. So
And
he's
then
backed
the
off of
Llewellyns
that.
own all that property out there.
And I think I think Llewellyn has paid most of it off, but him and Costello are tied together.
Right.
And Costello was running his mouth a few months ago about some elected official, and he wouldn't answer any questions. I said, well, former or current, he wouldn't answer, is on the verge of getting criminally prosecuted by his partners for like embezzlement. He had a very specific number, $488,000. And I am almost positive he was talking about Llewellyn. So, who knows what's going on? It's just, like you said, it's just a big...
It is. It's a big, dirty cloud. It really is. And that's what this town was built on.
It ain't called Helltown for nothing.
Right. And it's continued, and I think that surprises a lot of people, but it shouldn't surprise people.
That's what's always been so ironic to me about all these right-wing Catholics located here. Why would they choose to come to Helltown?
To try to clean things up.
That's right.
In fact, I keep coming. Norma Jean came up with this idea for this T-shirt. Don't
What
mess
does
with the
it say?
press.
Yeah.
I think we should market these like to reporters around the nation. I think we could sell them. You put your own paper in,
Right.
Yeah.
and they've got some Helltown High graphics, and I think we're going to start marketing that. But I had an idea for one that said, "Warren County, God's country, Hell's town."
Right.
I think that would sell.
Yeah.
It's a little revenue for the startup online paper.
Right.
I like it.
I do too.
I think you should go for
I'd
it.
wear it.
Yeah, I think you should go for it.
But you need to protect yourself. I can't tell you whether to roll your windows up or not, but you need to protect yourself.
Well, I tell you what, if I have them down, and if it's in the 90s, I probably will. I'm gonna crack them like
Right.
that, so I can't get their hand in. But if I find something in my car, I will call you guys immediately.
do.
Yes, do.
Yeah.
I'm
not
going to
even
tell you,
touching it.
I don't know if Detective Waller has told you, no one in our department besides admin and ourselves know that this investigation is going on. It's been that hush. So it is actually password protected where even patrol cannot read this report.
Okay,
So
did Norma Jean know this too, to keep it quiet? Because I know
She-
when we met,
we-
it was
we
just her,
said
McCool and
briefly,
me, and we all said nothing we're talking about can go out of this room to
Right.
nobody, not your wife, not
because
your boyfriend,
no
your
one can
girlfriend.
read this report. Everyone knows that this investigation is going on. Like we do and admin does, and no one can get actually on it to read anything.
And I'm curious,
It's locked.
is the sheriff's office involved too? Because she lives in the county, doesn't she?
She does. And
So-
on a portion of that, I would say the bulk of the investigation is us, and we're not working with the county.
Okay,
No.
because I know she has connections to the sheriff
I know.
from her business connections. You know, her explanation, I don't know, did I mention that to you? Because
But-
that's Norma Jean's story.
Right.
Right.
She keeps me abreast of it a little
Right.
bit.
We were.
And I know she was real suspicious that Danny is listed as an agent. Now Jennifer explained that to me yesterday, I guess to get it back to Norma Jean,
Oh yeah.
is that she's won, she said upwards of $2 million at the casino at Charlestown. And that her marriage is like that.
So that's on her taxes, and is that on her?
I would
Did she
have, she said
disclose
she
that
usually
money?
gets, she said she usually gets paid in checks. She just had a lucky streak. And since it's possible her marriage may split up, she didn't want to make it into a bank account where it would become divided assets. So it was a legal thing where she put it into this real estate
And
company.
she explained this yesterday to
Explained
you?
this to me yesterday. And that Danny is an agent on it as the sheriff because that makes it not common property. And I have no idea about real estate and how it works, but that's what she told me. Which I repeated back to Norma Jean, and I
Why?
said, I don't, you know,
It seems like she's trying to explain a lot of things.
whole lot. Whole lot.
How did she-
But I guess that would impact how the sheriff's office might be involved in it.
Yeah.
Pretty,
Okay.
that seems a little shady.
It's
Yeah.
just, it's
It
cra-
does.
it's
It-
crazy.
It is.